it's a great group of young quarterbacks here. Obviously, we've got 4 on our team, and we're looking forward to working with all of the quarterbacks.
What are you looking for as you're evaluating them? Like, what specific?
The quarterbacks?
Mm-hmm.
Well, like most positions, I mean, you want to see guys, operate in the meeting room. How they engage their teammates, and obviously the football part, the arm talent, how they move in the pocket and those things. But to have a chance to coach the Senior Bowl allows you to have an intimate setting to kind of evaluate the players, all the players here. So to me, it's a clear advantage to be here coaching this game.
What do you think about a guy like quarterback's decision whether to play or not to play in this game? Do you judge a quarterback differently for deciding to play in this game?
I don't. That's their choice, obviously. Or the guys who want to, help themselves in the drafts and kind of prove their worth. They're here. And the guys who are not, that's their decision. But we've got 4 really good quarterbacks here, so I'm excited to watch those guys work all week.
In the case of Mayfield, when it's been the shotgun and more of a spread style system, are there things you're looking for in practice this week? Maybe under center or 7-step drops or something, drills that you'll put in.
Right. That's always a concern, with college guys that's been the spread. Obviously, we'll have some under the center things for those guys. But in my opinion, we have to take what those guys do best, and kind of, put it in our plan. We can't watch those guys on tape for, 4 or 5 months and draft those guys and, ask them to do different things. So, what they do best, we have to do with those guys. So, obviously, you want to be under the center some, but if they're a spread guy, we have to implement spread concepts for those guys because that's on our level.
Vance, is size an issue with Mayfield if he measures at 6 foot?
Yeah.
Does that change?
How tall was he? I don't know.
Yeah,
you tell me. He didn't measure.
Yeah, he's 6'1".
What's his measurables?
6'1" now.
Yeah.
25.
Okay.
Could it matter?
I think that's fine. I mean, you watch Drew Brees play. I mean, he's figured it out. He's a very successful quarterback. Guys figure it out. Players play. Good players figure it out. So I wouldn't be concerned about that.
A lot has been made about you guys requesting him to be on your team. Can you share what went into that?
We want to coach all of the best players here. That's why we're here. Obviously, the quarterbacks. It's always a big deal as far as conversation. But it's a bunch of good players here that we want to see.
Was there some back and forth between you and the Texans? I mean, they have Deshaun Watson, so you guys ended up with Allen and Baker on your team?
That wasn't a conversation at all.
How quickly can you figure out whether a quarterback has the mental acuity, the acumen to sort of figure out defense? How quickly can you figure that out?
I think it's different for all players, involved. It takes some guys more time to figure it out. You would hope if you draft a guy high that you figure it out before you drafted him. Can he figure it out right away? But, all players develop differently, So, I wouldn't be overly concerned about that right now. You just want to, watch them work, watch them in meetings, and watch how they operate with their teammates. That's important.
BJ,
Coach,
what practice is this going to be? Is it going to be like a pro camp practice, a regular season?
Right. It's going to be like a pro training camp practice. It's going to be a lot of, obviously individual drills to showcase these kids' skill set. It's going to be a lot of one-on-one drills, wide receivers, DBs, linebackers versus running backs and tight ends and safeties. So it's going to be set up like a training camp practice, with about 3 team periods and 2 or 3 competitive periods.
Do you get to set that up, or is that set up before you?
Nope, it's my schedule. So it's going to go as a Broncos 2-a-day schedule would go. Be fun to watch.
Coach, how you doing?
Hey, buddy.
How you doing?
Good
Can you
to
give
see
us a scouting report on the Vance Joseph protege who's now the Bengals cornerbacks coach?
Durante Jones.
Yes, can you give us a scouting report?
Good young coach, very bright, great with the players, and he's definitely a get. I mean, he had a lot of opportunities to go other places. He chose the Bengals, so he's a great get for you guys.
He's got a very varied experience.
Your food is on the east side
He's
of
been
the
on every kind of level.
Yes, he's also coached in the CFL, so again, he's a bright prospect that's got a bright future in coaching.
Coach,
you guys did good.
Thank you, Coach. I appreciate it. Good seeing you.
You mentioned you scheduled the practice. Are you trying to put these guys and maybe in drills that make them a little bit uncomfortable to see how they handle things that they didn't do in college but they'll have to do in the pros?
I'll say this. It's our job as a staff this week to help those kids showcase their skill set, so not to put them in adverse situations, to help them showcase what they do well. As an evaluator, in my opinion, I want to watch what they do well, not what they don't do well. I mean, every player has holes, but I want to see them, put their best foot forward this week, and that's our goal.
Coach, how valuable is it to get your new staff, your new assistants out there with you and figuring out how you mesh with them and they mesh with your other guys?
That's important, but this week's about the players. I've got plenty of time to figure my staff out. I've hired good guys, experienced guys, so that won't be a problem. But this week's about the players.
Coach, how pivotal is this week for you guys, for the Broncos, to determine how they want to pursue the quarterback question in the offseason?
Well, I'll say this. It's January 23rd, so we've got a long ways to go here. Obviously, we're here to evaluate all the players here, and that's going to help us kind of determine where we go, with that position. But it's so early in the process, it's hard to say.
Vance, how would you describe
Nikki.
How would you describe the type of player you're looking for in the draft? I know you kind of talked to the players yesterday about you want them to be Broncos. What does that mean?
Absolutely. I would say this about that. I want players to be a good fit for us. Okay, and that's in terms of loving football. Being smart players. Smart players give you an opportunity to play. Guys in different areas. So I want smart players. I want tough players. I want guys who love football. On top of having the ability, once you get to this level, guys, as far as the physical ability, it's very close, But the things that separate players is the mindset, the love of football, how he learns, what kind of teammate he's going to be, leadership skills. So that's what I want to get. I want to get to, with our football team,
Coach,
finding Broncos.
Coach, when you have
I'm sorry.
What was the most difficult transition for you last year? What was the thing that kind of being a head coach anything stood out to you?
Well, I'll say this, as a coach for a long time, pushing players and coaching players, that's natural for you. That's what you've done. But coaching the coaches, I've got to get better at that. That's one thing I thought I didn't do a good job at mid-season there. So I'll get better at that.
Anything else in the South Sky?
No. You look familiar. No, I'm fine.
When you get the intel, Vance, to be able to see them in meetings, see how they interact, how can that translate in terms of guys you want to draft? Because that's basically unfettered access you wouldn't have if you weren't coaching this
Absolutely.
game.
I think it's a clear advantage to have a chance to coach this game, to watch those kids in meetings and to watch them in practice and to watch them in install meetings to see how they react to information. Can they retain information? That's the game we play. More games are lost than won. So the player that can retain information, the player that can sit through meetings and really get it and leave the meetings knowing what to do, that's important. And if you don't have this access, how do you know? With a 15-minute combine meeting, with a fly-by-night, combine interview in a train station, you don't know. So to coach this game is really, really valuable for our football team, to have a chance to really sit and learn the player. So to me, it's a clear advantage to be here.
Pedersen and Langley both came out of small schools. How heavily do you weigh this week for some of those guys from small schools playing against bigger competition?
I think players play. I think the college football landscape has changed so much. Kids don't just choose the major schools anymore. Some kids want to stay close to home, and everyone's on TV. Everyone's playing everybody. So to me, it's a different deal. You watch a kid play at a high level in college, he can play. So that won't be a concern.
This concludes.
You said you want to accentuate the positives of the quarterbacks that you have.
Sure.
But how much will you test them as far as what your offensive system requires out of the quarterback?
Right. I think we'll test those guys as far as the installs. How much they can retain as far as information. And how much they can spit out. That's always going to be there as far as the evaluation part. But we want to do things to help those guys put their best foot forward, obviously. But the evaluation never changes. Some guys get it, some guys don't. So that won't change this week.
Vance, you were talking about seeing the kids in meetings and all that. But how valuable is it, the non-football stuff, when you're eating meals and just seeing them interact with their teammates this week? How valuable is that?
That's important also. Just to be around the guys before you draft them and have a chance to know the person. Because the person/player, right? That's important because sometimes the person can fail a player. So you want to know the person also, and that's again coaching this game allows us the opportunity to see the person and the player, and that's important. In what we do, it's a hard league, it's a long season, and a lot goes into being a great NFL player, not just skills, but the person's so important.
Coach, when you have the individual meetings with players. What do you try to learn from them that you can't see while coaching them?
Well, again, what kind of person they are, what kind of teammate they're going to be. And again, the locker room is so important, on our level because that's the lifeline of your football team, Young players coming to your locker room, they learn how to be pros from that locker room. So you want to add players who have a chance to be great pros, so you have a pipeline of great pros. As you draft young guys and they come in the locker room, you have a streamline of just guys being good pros, and that's what you want.
Coach, John Elway talked at the end of the season about what makes a successful quarterback at the next level, and he really talked about swagger and confidence.
Yeah.
Is that something you're looking for from Baker Mayfield and Josh Allen here?
Yeah, absolutely. Confidence is a huge part of playing quarterback. And that's obviously in the locker room. That's on the field also because it's a position where it's going to be adversity. So the guy who can pull through adversity and still have success, that's important. So absolutely, confidence and swagger is important.
The coaching changes you made, or some of the hires you brought on, seems it's more of a specialization approach. Is that to develop some of these younger players coming up?
Well, I wanted to add guys who can coach football. I wanted to add guys with experience and, guys who can really, come in and help our guys grow as players, our young guys and our veteran guys. Sometimes a different voice allows a veteran player to take a next step. So we've got some veteran players I want to see grow, and I've got some young guys there I want to see grow. So the guys we hired are all great teachers, and that was important for me to hire guys who can really teach the game.
Can you talk about how proud the West Bank is of you?
I'm sorry?
The West Bank, they're very proud of you. The West Bank of New Orleans, can you?
Absolutely. That's home. That's Louisiana. It's a small community. He's got 4 or 5 guys. Myself, Ryan Clark is on ESPN every day, same high school. So we got 4 or 5 guys that have kind of made it out of the West Bank. So absolutely, that's awesome to hear that.
Vance, I work in Chicago where they just hired Matt Nagy.
Yeah.
Was there one aspect of his offense that you could appreciate or identify as something?
Those guys did a great job, in my opinion. Andy really flipping his mindset from being a NFL West Coast offense to a spread offense. Sure. And that's what I'm talking about with these young quarterbacks. That's the product that we're drafting. Right. Okay, so we have to change also, without asking the player to do something he can't do well. You draft those guys because they're great spread quarterbacks, so to bring them into your fold and change their entire game makes no sense. So watching Nagy and watching Coach Andy Reid just flip their offense, that's fun to see. You watch Philly with those quarterbacks. It's fun to watch guys adjust, to the player. It's a players' league. Players first, scheme second.
How much does the RPO have to do with that? It seems like it's trickling up.
I don't like the RPO because it's hard on defense and it's not fair. But it's part of our game, and for a defensive back, it's a conflict. Do I play run? Do I play pass? Right? You watch Aqib in the Philly game. He played run. It was pass. So it's tough, but everyone's doing it, so we have to do it also.
Vance, is this one of those things where you like coaching this game, but you don't want to do it again anytime soon?
I tell you what, I coached this game with San Fran, I think 2 or 3 years, okay? And obviously, it took time to turn that team. But when that team turned, they were pretty good because you rarely miss when you coach this game because, again, having access to the players at a different level outside of just football allows you to pick the right players. Jacksonville coached this game, I think, 3 years in a row with Gus. That team played pretty good on Sunday. So I think it's worth it. Again, guys, it's a clear advantage coaching this game so you can have, intimate access to these players, and that's important.